welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much. This is the monthly forecast for November of 2020 for the sign of Libra. So if you have a Libra sun, moon, or rising, you may want to watch this video just to get any insight into what you might be experiencing in the month of November. This is a broad spectrum reading, so it's kind of put out in broad terms to reach as many people as possible. Therefore, you have to kind of figure out where it fits in your life to the specifics and where it resonates. And, you know, if it doesn't, for any reason, that doesn't mean anything's wrong or bad. Don't worry. It just might mean that you're working on something different than what I see here in the cards. And if you do decide to make any decisions in your day-to-day life in regards to after having watched this reading, that is your responsibility. So keep that in mind. Always trust your own intuition over anything I have to say. So this first card is kind of what I call the sort of signifier for the month. It will give us something to, like, you know, maybe it could be an indicator of the theme of the month, something to focus on, where your sign is going to sort of be, you know, grounding in. It could be a multitude of things. For this group, the air signs, I chose the Talking to Heaven Mediumship cards by James Van Praagh. I kind of felt like air signs and heaven kind of went hand in hand. So, you know, message from other side, or where do we fit in here. So, oh, did I not set up a chat? Oh, well, I guess I didn't set up a chat. So let's see here. What do we need to know for Libra? I am sorry. Please forgive me. Interesting. So I kind of feel like, to be honest, this is going to be about closure for the Libras. I feel like when I look at this, I feel like either you guys are going to be wrapping up through apologies with certain situations, or certain situations are going to be wrapping up with you through apologies. I get this sense that there's some sort of recognition or validation that the Libras will be receiving. Also in the process, right? From this sort of, I am sorry, please forgive me, it sort of gives me this idea that you guys will finally be honored on something that maybe you've felt as though you've not been acknowledged on for a while. Maybe some of you might actually feel seen this month in some way, shape, or form. Something might come back and sort of give you guys that acknowledgement that you deserve, or that you require or need, or that you were looking for maybe in the past and didn't necessarily receive. So let's see what goes on in the cards. What does Libra, Sun, Moon, or Rising need to know for November of 2020? Okay, this first card represents sort of where you're centered at for the month of November. It's not exactly, you're not going to be in here the entire month, just, you know, in and out of this energy throughout the month. It gives me also a little bit of insight into sort of what you could potentially be creating into the future. So we have the Ace of Cups. Okay, so this definitely speaks to this I am sorry, please forgive me energy. The Ace of Cups is definitely water and the element of the emotions, right? Or the element of water and the realm of the emotions. When I look at this, I can't remember, I know somebody else had the Ace of Cups. I can't remember if that was their center. I think it was. I can't remember which sign it was this month. But to me, this is that sort of overwhelm of emotions, really feeling stuff. If some of us are receiving this apology or this acknowledgement, because this apology, to me, this doesn't necessarily, it could be for some of you an apology, right? The I am sorry, but not taken so literally. I feel like this is an acknowledgement of some sort. It may not be like an apology like, oh, I'm sorry I wronged you, girl, but it might be like, hey, you know, I didn't notice this. It's that sort of thing. There's something that's going to get acknowledged this month that is like either relief, brings about an ending. It's significant to the Libras. This Ace of Cups speaks to this idea of moving to the future, moving into something that feels better. I do think that this being such an emotional and watery card, and it being the ace, speaks to it being like a profound change. We're seeking a profound emotional change within ourselves or within a certain situation, and we just very well may get it through this "I'm sorry, please forgive me" card. It looks like whatever it is we've been seeking, be it in a relationship, a friendship, a work relationship, whatever, it's finally going to come to the surface. Even if it's us that's doing the apologizing or the acknowledgement, right? It's going to transform it, is the feeling that I'm getting. I think that the transformation is going to be ultimately positive, although it may be emotional. Ace of Cups is usually a very wonderful, love-oriented, positive card. To me, I feel a little forlorn as I'm looking at this. So I have a feeling that for some of you Libras, with this acknowledgement or with this sort of validation that we get in the month of November, it may be sort of needed, but it might be sort of at a cost to a degree, in the sense that, we may have to transform the relationship or move on. And I kind of get a feeling that this angel to me feels sad, right, at the prospect of that. Or so even though we're relieved that we've been maybe forgiven or acknowledged in some way, we also have to sort of part or separate ourselves from the situation because the situation is now transformed or changed. Does that make sense? That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting. The next card is the Foundation card. This card tells me a little bit about the past and what was happening in the past that brought everything to be the way that it is today in the reading. It's also the memory of this card that can kind of hold things in place or also drive things into the future. So let's see. So we have the Fool. So this is all about new beginnings. This is Major Arcana. It's the beginning, the first card of the Major Arcana. To me, the Fool is about keeping sort of an open mind and being naive or open to opportunities, but also you can be sort of naive that it could be a little bit precarious, right? And so when I look at this is the sign of Aquarius, I believe, which is also air, which is good. It is your element. In the past, though, this means like there's there was a new beginning that happened at some point, in the sense of like maybe a new relationship, a new job, a new something. And I get a feeling that it was in like I want to say like the last year or two for the Libras, right? For some of you, this may not make sense, but for some of you specifically, you know what I'm talking about. It's either like a new job where we went in wholeheartedly, thought it was going to be the best thing ever, right? We thought that it was going to be the thing that would fix us, make us feel better. There's an optimism. There's also something that we didn't necessarily see. And over time, the feeling that I get from this Fool card is that the reality sort of set in, and maybe the job that we thought was going to change our lives didn't quite turn out, right? Or the relationship that we thought was going to give us self-worth didn't quite turn out. And this Ace of Cups to me feels like that's the sort of longing or the emotional sort of awareness that's coming through. There's a clarity that's coming through in this Ace of Cups. Although it's coming at a cost, right? I feel like there's an acknowledgement, and some of this acknowledgement may just not even be coming from outside. It could be an "I'm sorry, please forgive me" in the sense where Libra forgives itself, right? For mistakes of the past where it maybe rushed into something, not necessarily paying attention to the warning signs, and now you've sort of gone through that situation, you've learned from it, but it's time to depart said situation, whatever this may be in your particular life. And as you're departing, there is a little bit of nostalgia, melancholy, sadness, and that sadness could be, from the choices that you've made within it. Does that make sense? So this apology or this acknowledgement that's happening here too could be for some of you just you honoring sort of maybe the experience that you brought yourself through in some way, shape, or form. I don't feel like this Fool card is a bad card per se, but I do feel like it's like this opportunity where we thought the world of something. We thought that we were going to be able to have all of this opportunity, and maybe didn't pan out the way we foresaw it or the way that we expected it to. And I think that the Ace of Cups to me feels like us acknowledging that, dealing with those feelings around that, and then opening up like maybe a new journey or a new opportunity after having faced that. Does that make sense? Now, the next card is the Spirit or Soul card. This tells me a bit about sort of where your spirit or soul is at and what it wants you to focus on in the month of November. So this is the Eight of Pentacles. So to me, the Eight of Pentacles is all about sort of meticulous work, taking everything step by step, putting everything we have into a project or into an endeavor in a way that's like where we really pay attention to our skill set and do the best to our ability, right? The eights always bring about a sense of balance. This coming from the higher self speaks to this idea that we want the Libras to kind of stay in that place of balance, staying in that place of honoring thyself and like, you know, acknowledging your strong suits, where your gifts and talents lie, utilizing those gifts and talents as much as possible. That's also part of this Ace of Cups energy too, is really feeling that love for oneself and the belief in oneself. If you've made some mistakes in the past, don't allow that to be the guide. Allow your ability to honor what you have going now as important, and therefore that brings you into this balance that we see in this Eight of Pentacles. Staying grounded, staying practical, doing one thing one step at a time, right? Trying not to get too far ahead of ourselves or too upset around things, too overwhelmed by things. Just allow them to sort of play out, right? And I think that the higher self wants us to understand that with each step as we go through this journey, it'll make more and more sense. We'll be able to handle it, and we can trust the feelings and the emotions that we have in this Ace of Cups, right? Even if it feels a little bit sad, like it feels like a departure, a release, just flow with it and let it happen. Keeping your eye on sort of this idea of being grounded and balanced, it's all going to be okay. Does that make sense? The next two cards are the outside influences. These are people, events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that could be affecting you during the month of November. They can either be positive or negative, but we just need to be aware of them. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. So Seven of Pentacles offers a bit of a challenge. Sevens usually are about making a conscious choice and change. They bring about the balance that we see in the eights. We make the choice and then we obtain the balance through doing the work, right? That eight is up in the higher self. So I sort of feel like that eight is going to, it's going to balance out any wonkiness that's coming at us from the outside universe. And the wonkiness, because it's a Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles is Earth sign, right? It's going to come at us in forms of like, you know, the material world. Like it could be finances, it could be work related situations. Things that are coming at us sort of sideways that might be stirring up in us some emotions. That's the Ace of Cups in the center, right? But if we channel that higher vibe of that Eight of Pentacles, where we just take one piece at a time through the month of November, taking it step by step, utilizing our best to our abilities, and really following through with that, we'll be fine. And that the Seven of Pentacles, I don't feel like is that much of a challenge. It's just more about making a choice to approach it in the best way we know how, in the most grounded and balanced way we know how. When we've gone and approached things maybe a little bit foolishly, like this Fool in the past, we've maybe made a mistake here and there, but or it didn't quite turn out the way it was intended or the way we saw it or thought it was going to. But we can be fine. I feel like the Seven of Pentacles doesn't necessarily, it just feels like things might be a little bit wonky for you guys in November. And so just keeping this, you know, open, balanced perspective is going to help to move you through this. Ultimately, that Ace of Cups is really a strong and beautiful card. Although it feels, this I'm sorry, please forgive me feels, and these hands out, to me it feels like there is this emotionality to you guys this month that might be a little bit hard. It's kind of sucks because you guys just came through your season, so I don't know why you're dipping down, but some of you will have to leave me messages and let me know if emotionally you are feeling it right now, because this is I don't know, it feels like the Libras are trying to make sense of something. All right, so let me look at the other outside influence. Okay, I love this. So this is the Sun, also major arcana. This is life-giving energy, right? This is all about affirmative yes. This is about benefit coming to us. When I look at this coupled with that Seven of Pentacles, to me, the question is what are we going to choose to focus on in this month, Libra? Are we going to be balanced and smart and do it step by step through that Eight of Pentacles energy? And are we going to focus on the opportunities of the Sun? Or are we going to focus on maybe the wonkiness or the, you know, the offness of the Seven of Pentacles? Are the small things that may come our way that are out of whack or not in plan, are we going to allow those to exacerbate our space and take over our emotional center that we see in that Ace of Cups, because that Ace of Cups is a powerful card. Whatever we're like putting our attention on and we're giving our attention to is what we're going to sort of exemplify or exacerbate in our lives or make bigger in our lives. We want to make this opportunity of the sun more bigger. The sun is our complementary energy, which is the element of fire, right? The sign of Leo. So to me, it's that sort of generous nature, that celebratory nature, that opportunity for growth, for feeling alive, for feeling energized. With the sadness that I feel around the Ace of Cups, and the Ace of Cups is not necessarily a sad card, but to me, it's because of this I am sorry, please forgive me card. It feels like there is this sort of melancholy, right? We want to make sure that we temper that with the sun, or that we allow ourselves to let sort of the light of the sun in this month if we are feeling like a little bit more emotional. We do have an ability like to stay strong, grounded, and balanced with that Eight of Pentacles up top, as long as we listen to our higher self and the voices that are coming from that place, right? And the Ace of Cups too in the center is a great card, albeit an emotional one, right? So trusting the emotions that we're having to help to guide us through this month. But if we're focusing on maybe what's peeving us or bothering us, and that would be like the Seven of Pentacles, we want to be careful because we don't want to perpetuate that versus the power of this Sun card, right? There is opportunity here in this month for you guys. Now, this next card to me is the potential outcomes card. This is where most of the Libras will potentially end up, barring that nothing major changes. But if this is a negative card, we can use it as a warning to make choices and changes in our lives so that we can affect the outcome. If it's something positive, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally heading towards it. We don't have to do much to make, things happen. It will happen. All right, so this is the Hanged Man. So this is the energy of Pisces. I will say this. The Hanged Man feels a little bit stuck, obviously. He's hanging there. But the truth about the Hanged Man is he always has the opportunity to reach up into the tree and release himself at any given time. The Hanged Man to me is major arcana, so we have a big ending to the month, and there is a little bit of confusion, I feel like. And I feel like that confusion might be happening because the Fool is the driving factor down in the foundation. Like, if there's been times in the past where we haven't known all the answers and we've still acted, we might find ourselves in this Hanged Man energy where we feel like we don't know what to do next or how to move forward, having maybe reached this realization, this acknowledgement, whatever it is that's going on in this I am sorry, please forgive me, whether it's an all-out apology from someone else or from us to another person that creates a separation, whatever that may be. By the time it's we're to take that separation or that departure, we may not know how to do that, and that might be the Hanged Man, right? Feeling cautious or not sure, like, do I leave this job? Do I leave this relationship? Do I, if they've acknowledged how they've treated me and I've realized I went into this foolishly, right? And I trusted and I allowed them to hurt me, am I still willing to move forward, right? On my own, mind you, right? And that's the strength of the Eight of Pentacles. That's about believing in yourself, your own ability to move forward on your own. That's also sort of the sadness I see in the Ace of Cups, is that this angel, she's moving forward to a place of peace, but she's doing so sort of like forlornly, right? Because there are some emotions around this. And I mean, some of you, this could be a romantic situation, but for others, it could be like, say, a work situation where you received a job a year or two ago and you thought it was going to be the job that was going to change everything for you. And then you found out that you had an asshole who's a boss. And you let that asshole probably mistreat you for a long time or something to that effect. Excuse my language. But I'm using that as an example, right? So from there, we either continue on with sort of these wonky treatments coming at us, or we move towards the sun, towards new beginnings, towards what brings us brightness and energy. And we understand what our gifts are, right? What our abilities are, what our skill set is. And we really own that from a place of balance, understanding, and appreciation. That will move us forward. Some of you with the Hanged Man at the end of the month speaks to this idea that you might be a little bit undecided on how do I move forward? Is now the right time? These are all things that you can iron out and you can figure out. They will be important decisions that you make, hence the major arcana aspect of this card. But you have to trust the decisions that you make. And that's sort of what I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is trying to show you. Is your spirit wants you to trust your innate ability to make these decisions. The problem is the Fool from the past, this, you know, this Fool card from the past says, can I trust myself because I, you know, made mistakes in the past? Or, and see, the thing is what we have to realize from, and this is the power of the Fool card, is that although mistakes get made, like if we don't make mistakes, we don't learn, we don't experience, we don't, you know, we don't evolve in some ways. Sometimes mistakes are needed so that we can have the Fool's journey and learn everything, right? So, like looking at that as a loss would be sort of, in my mind, a mistake. This is more my opinion. But looking at that as a loss or as a mistake on your part, a fault on your part, would be a mistake, because I feel like the Fool has its own power in learning and teaching and growing. And at the time that you entered into whatever it is that we're talking about releasing ourselves from, or you know, completing with in these cards, because I do see like a sort of a completion happening. We kind of needed to go through that, or we maybe didn't have the skill set when we took it on back in the past with this Fool card. So we have to give ourselves a little bit of credit or acceptance. And that's some of also the sadness that I feel in the Ace of Cups. It's like, can we forgive ourselves as much as we maybe need to forgive somebody else within this situation? The Sun, to me, speaks to this new chapter, though. And I also get this funny feeling that that Sun card isn't leaving, even if we end up at the Hanged Man at the end of the month, unsure of what to do. Like the positivity of that Sun, as long as we bask in it from time to time, we'll continue to hang there in Libra space until we figure it out and unhang ourselves from the tree and move forward. Does that make sense, Libra? I hope it does. That is your forecast for November. Sorry I was unable to open the chat. I forgot to open up the chat, but that is your forecast. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Please go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and vice versa. If you're watching on YouTube, go over to my Facebook business page and give me a like there. Share this out with anybody that you'd like. Cross watchers, you're more than welcome to be here and watch for your Libra counterparts. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month. Please join me every day on the YouTube channel for the daily forecast. And I will see you guys soon. Have a great November, you guys. All right, take care. Bye-bye.